Well, I'll tell you what, I just want to get back before we get Deven's view on both these two stocks. Sudarshan, my colleague, is putting out some flashes on the ticker. And what S&P is mentioning is the effect of the US tariffs on the Indian economy will be manageable. And India is relatively less reliant on trade, and about 60% of its economy growth stems from domestic consumption. So they're stating the obvious, but I think that point with regard to India's story is strong, and we'll be able to combat these tariff issues that are coming out of the United States. That's giving some confidence as well. Well, we're going to be joined by an economist very, very soon, but let's get Deven's take first on these gold finance companies. Deven, I've been observing whenever there is this kind of regulatory overhang on these companies, these gold finance companies, they bounce back even more swiftly. I recall there was an issue earlier this year when you had the same stock, Muthoot, had gone down to 2,000 rupees, and from there it's given you 30%. Valuations are not cheap, but what do you like between both these two, Muthoot or Manappuram?
So, good afternoon, Nigel. Well, I think in case of Muthoot, I think the opportunity is different versus I think what you have it in Manappuram. The one is basically having the larger footprint in form of I think diversified portfolio. The other one is pure gold focused company. In my viewpoint, I think a pure gold focused company with a long tenure gold loans is something which basically I think makes more sense, though I think the NPA ratio is not something which I can easily comprehend. In a way, one wants to look at, I think, this particular business, given the strength of the gold price at this point of time, and I think given the kind of demand that one would have during the festive season, probably the tailwind is in favor of the gold finance business. And that's where probably I think market is also remaining a little bit more steady onto this particular subject. As far as we are concerned, we prefer to go with a diversified consumer finance companies, NBFC companies, the larger ones. We don't like to stay focused onto the asset class like gold, pure play. I think as far as I think the investment is concerned. So the likes of Bajaj Finance would remain relatively more better choice. And if one was to go with a dedicated one, then housing finance business also I think remains relatively more sure bet vis-a-vis the gold as far as I think the safety or downside is concerned.
No, yeah, absolutely. We'll just look at the market for a bit, 10 points, 11 points, and we'll just wait by. Devin, good afternoon. I'll just wait by till I'm told we can go across to Mr. Soumyakanti Ghosh, who's with us, who's joining us in just a bit from now. Market breadth, by the way, is pretty poor, pretty terrible. 1,700 stocks are lower and about 1,100 stocks are higher. So this is actually pretty negative. It was not this in the morning when we actually looked at things. Things were looking much, much better. HPL Electric started lower, about 6-7%. It was down 10% by about 10:30 in the morning, and it's down 16%. So that's a pretty large cut coming through, and you've got lots of these smaller, 5-6% kind of accidents, and even larger ones, right? I think Surya Roshni is another one which is down sharply. I think we